Richard Feynman, one of the most brilliant physicists of the 20th century, believed that what we call genius is actually a learnable habit. He looked past simple memorization to develop a specific method for thinking deeply about the world. Most of us are trained to do the exact opposite. We learn how to recite what the textbook says and memorize the technical labels. We pass the test and assume we understand what's happening. Over the next 5 minutes, we are going to apply the Feynman framework. We will take a concept that frustrates you and translate it into an explanation so clear that a 10-year-old could grasp it. To do this, you need to participate. Grab that difficult textbook, manual, or study guide you've been struggling with, along with a blank piece of paper and a pen. Admitting ignorance is the mandatory starting line for intellectual mastery. You must be willing to state what you do not yet know. Step 1 is to strip away the labels. Look at the concept you want to learn and write down exactly what is happening without using a single technical term. When Feynman was a boy walking in the Catskill Mountains, his father pointed to a bird pecking at its feathers. He told him the bird's name in Italian, Portuguese, and Chinese, then explained that knowing the name teaches you absolutely nothing about the bird. The mechanical reality is that the bird is pecking to remove lice. Those lice eat the protein in the feathers, and if the bird doesn't clean them off, more lice will hatch. Look at your paper. Find every piece of jargon, cross it out, and replace it with a plain English description of the physical action taking place. Removing the vocabulary quickly exposes where your knowledge is hollow. This forces your brain to stop hiding behind words and confront the mechanics of the problem. This is the Great Dome at MIT. During his time studying here, Feynman realized something crucial. Thinking clearly about an abstraction is nearly impossible if you cannot visualize it first. Instead of memorizing equations about atomic theory, he imagined himself shrinking down in size. He wanted to picture atoms colliding, bouncing around, and actually feel the physical push or pull of nearby electrons. Now, on your paper, draw a rough sketch of your plain English sentence. Make the concept physical. Apply the tiny eyes test. Ask yourself, if I had microscopic eyes and could watch this process happen in the real world, what exactly would I see moving? If you cannot picture your idea as physical movement or interaction, the abstraction has no foundation in reality. Step 3 is the freshman test. Read your explanation out loud. Imagine you are teaching it to a first-year student or a child, and listen closely to where you hesitate. We often nod along to complex concepts because we don't want to look slow. Attempting to teach the concept aloud strips that mask away. This is the Caltech campus, where a student came to Feynman confused about the uncertainty principle. The student could recite the textbook definition perfectly, but when asked what was actually happening, he couldn't answer. This diagram illustrates Feynman's starting point. You see a ball because light bounces off it into your eye, but if that object is microscopic, the light hitting it carries enough force to physically push it, altering its location. Look back at your paper and circle the exact spot where your explanation broke down or where you reverted back to jargon. This gap in your explanation highlights the specific area where you need to do more work. This is the precise location where your actual learning begins. Finally, look at your simplified concept and ask one what if or why question. Do this purely for your own curiosity, not to prepare for a test. This image of an atomic blast represents the intense pressure Feynman faced at Los Alamos during the war. Physics felt heavy and exhausting, and he realized he had lost his curiosity. When he later moved to Cornell, he made a deliberate choice to treat physics like play. One day in the cafeteria, he watched someone toss a plate into the air. He noticed the blue medallion on the plate was rotating faster than the plate itself was wobbling. Just for fun, he sat down to work out the equations describing that motion. That entirely optional, playful calculation led directly to the work on quantum electrodynamics that won him the Nobel Prize. Treating learning as play and relentlessly asking why the way a child does allows you to build an unshakable foundation of knowledge. Look at the difference on this page. Compare your handwritten visual story against the dense textbook you started with. Your final task is to take that paper and actively teach your concept to a friend, a coworker, or a sibling. Let them ask questions to see if your understanding holds up. Mastering complex topics depends on your persistence. Success comes from the willingness to stop and translate every instruction into something real. True genius is built by the relentless refusal to accept an idea until you have broken it down and rebuilt it in your own words.